Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard our special brief, How to Target Profits in a Hostile Market. War in Eastern Europe, war potentially in Asia, the Middle East, raging inflation in the United States, housing market starting to crumble, rising interest rates, the financial sector starting to show cracks. Sounds pretty scary. Well, it isn't if you know what you're doing. I'm going to show you in this brief how 2023 can be your most profitable year ever. And I'm going to show you our TOPGUN options, proprietary trading methodology, and risk management process. I'm also going to show you a top secret tactic that we call a tredge. It's a trade that's going to make money that also acts like a hedge to protect your bullish or long-term bullish positions in your portfolio. Folks, you're not going to see this tactic taught anywhere else. So no distractions. Make sure you silence the electronic nicotine and make sure you stay to the end so you can grab a couple bonuses worth about $150. But I'm going to start with some breaking news. Folks, no one cares more about your money than you. Always cracks me up. People are like, oh, my college buddy's my financial advisor, or my uncle, or my brother-in-law, or whatever it is. Folks, no. Nobody cares more about your money than you. Only you should care more about your money than anyone else. And as we say here at TOPGUN Options, you are the pilot in command of your portfolio. And speaking of pilot command, ladies and gentlemen, trading is a form of combat. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to get their ass handed to them. And which side do you want to be on? That's pretty easy to answer, isn't it? Well, at TOPGUN Options, I'm going to put you on the winning side. Well, who's you and why should you listen to me? Well, I'm going to show you precisely why the TOPGUN Options portfolios have been able to achieve a documented 70% return over the last 12 years in all market conditions with limited drawdowns, and how you can start gaining access to those same trades moving forward. I'm going to show you how looking at the wrong trading instrument can kill your portfolio in the blink of an eye, and how the same exact process that the United States military uses to control military personnel all over the world in complicated, hostile, sometimes rapidly changing environments, seemingly effortlessly. I'm going to show you how you can use that same process to identify and manage your trades for maximum profit. I'm going to show you and tell you why, folks, I turn away more traders than I allow into my program. And if we both agree that this program will be a good fit for you, how you can try it out absolutely risk-free. So who's me and why should you listen to me? Folks, my name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I flew the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years, graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know is Top Gun, where I was a bad guy. I went through the adversary program, so I was a good bad guy. Also deployed twice to the Middle East on board the USS Abraham Lincoln and Kitty Hawk in support of Operation Southern Watch, where I flew some combat sorties. So, folks, what the heck does this have to do with trading? Everything. You don't join the military to get rich. You join the military to serve your country, do something honorable for your fellow woman, your fellow man. Well, always interested in finance in the background. So when I was a young ensign, gonna age myself a little bit here, in 1991 down at Key West Naval Air Station, I actually remember sending a check for $25 to the USAA Aggressive Growth Mutual Fund. So I was always interested in finance, and as I became a young Navy fighter pilot, I started applying everything I was learning to my trading, having a strategy, implementing tactics, contingency planning, knowing when to get out of a good or bad situation before it got worse, managing risk. Okay, this guy's a fighter pilot. He's going to talk to me about managing risk. Yeah, folks, we want to minimize all known risk because flying an airplane off the pointy end of an aircraft carrier over bad guy country is dangerous enough without minimizing known risks. So I started TOPGUN Options. Why TOPGUN Options? Well, unfortunately, TOPGUN Options was started as a result of a tragedy. Early on the morning of September 11th, 2001, I was getting ready for my first flight as a pilot for American Airlines. Packing for my trip when my beautiful bride came in holding our 8-month-old son and said, "You better come take a look at the TV." Airplane hit the World Trade Center. I said, "I'm busy. Packing for my trip. Come on." She just had that look on her face that I knew better. Went out into the living room, looked at the TV, saw what many of you saw that fateful morning. Beautiful, not a cloud in the sky, New York City. Big smoking hole. And I'm standing there going through my mental aviation checklist of how something like that could have happened. Next plane hit. In the blink of an eye, I knew we were under attack. I raced into the bedroom. I still have my American Airlines uniform in the plastic from the cleaners. I moved that out of the way, grabbed for the familiar feel of my flight suit, my green Navy flight suit, put my boots on, didn't even tie the laces, jumped in my Porsche, and I think I broke the land speed record getting out to Naval Air Station, Fort Worth, Texas, where I was flying F-18s as part of the Naval Reserve. Me and another buddy made it out there just as we went to a combat posture, and the F-16 guys next door called up and said, "Hey, any of you guys make it in?" I said, "You got me and Gruff, General," because the Air Force guys were tied into NORAD, the North American Air Defense, and they said, "Come on over. We got 4 of us over here in the command post." And we were briefing to get airborne and stand up a combat air patrol as the Pentagon got hit. It was like Lexington and Concord, folks. A bunch of slack-jawed reservists manning up to defend this country. As a matter of fact, a couple days later, I scrambled and forced a small plane down that was flying around prohibited presidential airspace. But, folks, man, to this day, even just relating that story, man, it gets me. I get going. It was horrible. A week later-ish, I got a photocopied letter from American Airlines that said, "Dear crew member, you're furloughed." And furloughed is a polite airline word for laid off. So blink of an eye, I lost that rich airline pilot job, my health care, my everything, man. And we were. I lived in base housing in the Navy and didn't have a lot of money saved up. And what money we had saved up, we put as a deposit on our first home that we bought. So, man, I lost everything in the blink of an eye. But you know what? I got over that pretty damn quick, right? Thousands, tens of thousands of fathers, daughters, mothers, sisters, cousins. I mean, thousands of people dead. I was like, dude, get over yourself. Get up and get going. I said, let's go. I got to take care of my young, beautiful bride, my son, and my country. So I started to apply myself to my trading. It had been a hobby in the past, flying for the Navy, everything like that. I just kind of trade in the background. Well, guess what? Time to get serious. So I really started applying myself to my trading, and I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage firms in the country, headquartered right there in the Chicago Board of Trade. I had an absolute blast, man. I helped start a hedge fund when I was there. I helped start the retail brokerage, which many of you know as Options House. And, I jokingly tell people that I felt like Valentine, right? Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. Guy off the street hanging out with the smart money. Well, folks, let me tell you something. The smart money ain't that smart. I can be blindingly brilliant with you folks. I was in the Board of Trade in 2008, 2009 during the financial crisis, and kind of here we go again right now with some of the banks starting to crack and fail, folks. The smart money ain't that smart, I am here to tell you. I was the managing director of strategy for that firm and also started the Options News Network, kind of the CNBC for options. We shot on the floor the CBOT and the CBO, and I gave you all, folks like you all, a behind-the-scenes look at what was going on in the options market. Love this picture, folks. That's 2009, 10, when we decided to leave Chicago. No offense. Anybody from Chicago in here? No offense. If you're from Chicago, folks, you can keep it. I'm a Navy guy. I'm a beach guy. I need sun. I need ocean. I need sand. But I love that picture because that's when we left Chicago. Young kid on the right ain't a young kid anymore. He's 22. My son Matthew graduated from Norwich University, the Corps of Cadets, where he wants to serve his country as well. Jack over there on the left is going to be starting his freshman year at CU Boulder. Wants to go into the Navy ROTC and fly like his dad as well. And then Keely Grace is 15, going on 29, and she's not allowed to leave the house. I have a lot of weapons. She's my princess. She's an incredible human being. What else do I do currently, folks? I am the host of the Max Afterburner podcast, sponsored by No Fallen Heroes. We'll get to that in a second. It's ranked currently in the top 2% of podcasts globally. And you're going to be blown away by some of the topics that I talk about on the Max Afterburner podcast. Wrote a couple books so far, From Sea Level to Sea Level, the story of me leaving the sea level and going to the sea level. Geez, where'd you come up with that name? Really good stuff. And then wrote a book called COVID Crash, From Panic to Profit. Guess who, you know the answer, it's me, predicted the COVID market crash essentially to the day? I did. Guess who made millionaires out of little old ladies in tennis shoes? I did. This wasn't rocket surgery, folks. This was easy. We pounded the market into the dirt as Donald Trump, all these billionaires. Who was it? Ray Dalio was in Davos. Remember? Cash is trash. There's the smart money, folks. In January, February of 20, Ray Dalio and the smart money, the beautiful people at Davos, told you to get into the stock market. As I looked into this computer and talked into this microphone and said, get out. We made millionaires, and they needed a bailout. No Fallen Heroes Foundation, folks. I am a veteran, as you know. I run a psychedelic-assisted therapy foundation. Don't have too much time to talk about it, but go to nofallenheroesfoundation.org and you can learn what our mission is. Our mission objective is to save the lives of veterans, first responders, and their families. Anywhere between 22 and 44 veterans kill themselves every day, and it's insane. It's a heartbreak, folks, and I am trying to bring that number to zero as fast as I can. How do I do it? Unfortunately, we got to take veterans out of the country, into Mexico, into Costa Rica. It's a disgrace. We need to start healing Americans in America with psychedelic-assisted therapy, but that is a topic for another time. But check out our foundation when you get a chance. NoFallenHeroesFoundation.org. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get airborne. Sorry that, I got to do an intro, right, folks? If you're going to learn how to trade from somebody and you kind of don't know who they are, that's kind of dumb. So hopefully you got a little bit of a flavor about who I am. Check out the Max Afterburner podcast or a couple of those books to learn a little bit more about me. But take a look at that, folks. What is that? That's a $65 million-ish aircraft sitting on the flight deck. What is that? Sitting on the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, that is an inanimate object, right? It doesn't do anything sitting there. But in the hands of a trained, not educated, trained naval aviator, it is a lethal weapon. Earlier I told you trading is a form of combat, and combat is what? Rapidly changing, challenging, and hostile. It doesn't get any more hostile than combat, folks. Guess what? That is what trading is. Trading is a form of combat, rapidly changing, challenging, and hostile. Folks, I'm going to put the ladder down. I already got mine. I helped run a multi-billion-dollar firm on Wall Street. I run a nonprofit right now. I do this for fun. I do this for sport, to put the ladder down and help you out, folks. I'm going to show you my trading cockpit. I'm going to show you how I applied all of my Navy training to Wall Street. I'm a caveman, folks. I'm a poor young Irish Catholic kid from South Jersey, South Philadelphia. If I can do it, you can do it. So here we go. How are we going to target profits in a hostile environment? Well, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, like I just said. How do you battle complexity? Like, combat seems complex. Trading seems complex. How do you combat complexity? With simplicity, right? And one of those things that we do is acronyms. You probably, if you've ever spoken to aviators, we use a lot of acronyms, right? Because checklists and stuff like that can be kind of complicated. How about this? A tredge. I'm going to teach you a new word today. It's called a tredge. A trade, you want to make money. Wiz, when I'm trading, I better make money. A hedge, I don't mind losing money. Okay, wait, hold on. I just showed up to this trade brief, and this guy, I get trade, make it a hedge. Folks, it's like an ejection seat. You don't want to use it, but if you have to, it's either death or pull the ejection handle to get out of an airplane that's going to crash, right? So that's what hedges are, right? on a good day in the market, I should see a lot of what on my screen? Green. What should be red on my screen on a really good day? My hedges. Those are my bilge pumps. On a bad day, when there ain't a lot of green and there is green, that's my hedge, right? So, folks, I'm going to show you right now my methodology to target profits in a hostile market. TFW. Train, fight, win. Folks, train. There is no such, well, I'm not going to say there's no such thing as financial education. They're all over the place, my so-called, quote, competitors. The world is full of educated derelicts, ladies and gentlemen. Training gives you a skill. Fighter pilots are trained. Doctors are trained. Traders are trained. And I am going to train you in our full throttle program. This is not hard. You ready? Here is our methodology, our Top Gun Options training methodology. I call it SOT. Strategic, operational, and tactical. Out of the hundreds of traders, investors, or whatever on this brief right now, no offense, the average retail trader is very tactical. Y'all don't know what you're doing for lunch today or tomorrow, let alone what you should be trading or investing 6 months, a year, 2 years out into the future. Very, very tactical trader. I'm going to break you of that. Our methodology, ladies and gentlemen, in our live trade briefs, strategic. 10, 15-minute opening part of my brief is what's going on around the globe, economically, politically, militarily. Economically, remember the Greek debt crisis or the Brexit or anything like that? What about politically? What about militarily? What happened to the markets when Putin invaded Ukraine? What do you think is going to happen to the markets when, not if, Israel attacks Iran? Wait, he said when, not if. Correct. How about when, not if, China invades Taiwan or seizes that island by force, where most of the semiconductors in the world are kept? What do you think is going to go on in the markets? So you have got to pick up your binoculars and look down range strategically. After the strategic part of my briefs, then we get operational. I peel that onion back one layer and we take a look at what? The United States. What's going on domestically, as far as economically, politically, hopefully not militarily, but economically, what's important? The debt ceiling. Banks are failing. The Fed's raising interest rates. Housing market is slowing. Yeah, big deal. What about political? Why do we care about politics? Folks, politics drives the markets. The Fed's not political. Okay, pull this leg and it plays jingle bells. Ladies and gentlemen, politics drives the markets. The debt ceiling fight that's coming up. The potential government shutdown. I loved when Obama was president and the Republicans held the House and the Senate. We used to print money as volatility would spike around the threat of a government shutdown. And then, unfortunately, the government would reopen eventually, and volatility would shrink, right? So we have to brief operationally what's going on in the United States, and then, and only then, can we get tactical and do what? Trade. If you come into this brief right now going, okay, where's the trades? You're a failure. You're going to be miserable trading. I guarantee you. I've been doing this for over 3 decades. So how am I going to train you? Well, in our full throttle training, I'm going to teach you how to look at fundamentals. Yeah, fundamentals still matter. For a long time there, folks, when the Fed was just pumping free money, free crack, free booze into the market, fundamentals didn't matter. They will matter again, okay? Also, volatility. I'm an options trader. I'm going to teach you how to trade options. As an options trader, what do we like looking at? Volatility. That's big. And then, obviously, a little bit of technical analysis sprinkled in there. A lot of people swear by technical analysis. If you do, let me ask you a question. How many of you who swear by technical analysis can trade off the left side of a chart? Nobody can. I think because a lot of the technical analysis guys and gals are drawing stuff over the left. I'm like, can you trade off the left? No, you can't. And then finally, our full throttle training briefs, ladies and gentlemen. We do 8 training briefs where we're going to start with this is the market, this is a call, this is a put, all the way up to advanced tactics. You have got to train. So this is how I'm going to train you in our step 1. Okay? So let's go take a look at some fundamentals, at some volatility, at some technical analysis, easy for me to say, in one of my model portfolios that I manage here at Top Gun Options. Okay? Before I do, let's take a look at that. Look at the S&P 500, man. Look at where we are kind of right now. Unbelievable. We are getting ready for a big lookout below moment. This is not going to be pretty, but it's actually going to be incredibly pretty when, not if, we profit as the market implodes. So let me pull up my brokerage account right now, and we're going to go take a look. Okay, folks, here is a chart. What do we have up? A 3-month chart of the S&P 500. Let's actually go out a year right now. Whoa. Look at this. See how we're imploding right now? Look, there is a lot of airspace between where we are right now, 3750, 30. Look at the October lows, the fall of 2022, folks. We are heading down there very, very rapidly, okay? So you don't have to be some technical analysis genius to see that there ain't no support under this market right now. It is look out below. Take a look at volatility. So that's a little technical analysis right there, but look at the VIX. The VIX, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, is a heart rate monitor, right? When something happens to freak the market out, the VIX goes up. When that freak out goes away, the VIX goes down. The VIX doesn't go up and to the right like a stock. It doesn't just keep going up or totally implode. It is a heart rate monitor. Look at the 5-year chart of the VIX. That's where the market thought we were all going to die of COVID, and we didn't. And then the VIX, it's a heart rate monitor, right? Write this down if you want to really learn how to trade volatility. You ready? When volatility is cheap, down here, you buy it, right? When something's cheap, what do? You buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. Right now, folks, let's go down to your chart. Volatility was incredibly cheap, and I told all my TGO members recently to do what? Get long volatility. We are due for another massive spike up into the 30s, and guess what? It's a-coming, folks. We had a little bit of a spike recently. It's going to come up. And when we get up here, then what are we going to do? Get bearish on volatility. This is like shooting fish in a barrel. But we're going to take a look, folks, at a trade that's going to act like a hedge. And I already picked 2 trades that I'm going to bring up right now. So let me go back to the chart real quick. So I trade SPX, and I'll teach you in our TOPGUN options training that I don't trade SPY. There is different, I'm not your tax accountant, don't play one on TV, or your tax attorney. There is different tax treatment between trading an index like SPX and an ETF. Pick up the phone, call your broker, find out on your own. But I get better tax treatment. This just paid for your membership right there. But if there's an index, trade that over the ETF. If you want to trade the IWM, a lot of people trade IWM. You shouldn't. You should be trading RUT, but separate conversation. Here's what I want to do. I do not think, based on war in Ukraine, potential war, China, Taiwan, Israel, everything that I briefed you at the beginning is what I call my commit criteria for being bearish, meaning I think something's going to go down. I do not think between now and June, let's just say, the market's going to have any sort of rip your face off rally. It could, if we see peace in Ukraine, everything that I just briefed you on that's bad, take the exact opposite, you'll get a rally. I don't think that's going to happen. Wiz, the human being, wants that to happen. Wiz, bipolar, on the other side of Wiz, is Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. I want to see this thing burn, and I want to see profit. So if I don't think the market is going to go up past a certain level, we could do a tactic called a bear call spread. I'm bearish, I'm using calls, and it's a spread. Actually, let me go over to this chart. I like this one a little bit more. It's just a little bit more visually friendly. There we go. So look it up here, like 4050, 4100 on the S&P 500. We topped out, when was that, February, kind of 4200. But I like this 4050, 4100 range. I do not think between now and all the way out here in this white space, out here in June, the market's going to have a rip your face off rally. I just don't feel it. So we could do what is called a bear call spread. Let me go to my orders, and I already have one under here saved. Let me hit modify here, and I'm going to, or copy. There we go. Copy. I'm going to brief you on this. I'm going to sell 4 of the June 23. That's in the middle of June, right? The middle of June, I'm going to sell the 40-50 calls. That means I do not think the market, let's bring the chart up in the background. Chart. So 40-50, all the way up here. Let me move this out of the way. Let's go with like a 6-month chart. Yeah, so 40.50 is right around there. It's kind of where we talk right here. I do not think between now and June this thing's going to turn around and keep climbing back up. I think we got a lot more downside to go. So I'm going to sell 4 of the 40.50 calls. Okay, that's me saying I don't think we're going above 40.50 by the third Friday in June. Wiz, what if you're wrong? We have some sort of rip your face off rally and the market takes off. Well, I'm going to buy an equal amount of upside calls. So we're long the S&P above 40.75. Okay, so I'm bearish on the S&P 500. I'm using calls and it's a spread. It's a bear call spread. Okay, let's analyze. As soon as I click on analyze, we're going to talk about managing risk in a second here, but it's risking about $5,700 to make $4,200. Okay, now I also have another trade saved. If you think that the market isn't going to go up between now and June, what can you also believe? Right? If you don't think something's going to go up, you could also believe what? That something's going to go down. So let's say the S&P 500, we believe, is going to still keep on going down. Why don't we do another trade down here? So the bear call spread I just showed you up here is a credit spread. We get paid to do it. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some of that money or all of it and buy a bear put spread down here. So again, I already have one kind of under the trigger here. I'll just hit modify. Or no, copy. There we go. Copy. So I'm going to buy. Let me bring up in the background the chart down here. Like the 3,700. Right about there. Oops. Right there's 3,700. Close. I'm going to buy the 3,700 puts and sell lower strike puts to bring in some coin to help pay for them. Wow. So I'm bringing, what was the bear call spread? I think I was bringing in about $5,700. This spread cost me about $5,900. So I think net we're coming out of pocket like $200. But check out the risk to reward on this one. We're risking that about 59 to make 19 grand. So I'm going to let that sink in. If between now and June, the market keeps imploding like I think it's going to, 19 plus, I think the other trade was max potential profit of 4. What's that? About $23,000 we could potentially profit if what? The market implodes. So if the market implodes, that's a trade that's going to make money and a hedge that's going to protect my portfolio. Okay? So trade, training, train, trade, fight, win. Okay, so let's talk about fight. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't win if you're losing. Now, before you all leave this room and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because listen to me. Before you even think about how much can I make, you have got to do what? You have got to talk about managing risk. You can't make money if you're losing money. You can't win if you're losing. So, folks, quick question. When do you think this Canadian F-18 pilot made the decision to eject out of that aircraft? He was doing an air show practice. Engine failed. And in the blink of an eye, he pulled the ejection handle, and he was out of the aircraft. When did this Canadian F-18 pilot make the decision to eject from that aircraft? When the engine failed, when it stalled, when the tower told him. Ladies and gentlemen, that Canadian F-18 pilot made the decision to eject out of that aircraft when? In the brief. Ladies and gentlemen, in the brief. Sipping on his venti upside down caramel macchiato, that young Canadian flight lieutenant said, you know what? If I'm at low altitude, 200 feet, doing the high alpha pass, and I lose a motor, I got to get out pretty quickly. They did the math. If he had delayed the ejection decision by a half a blink of an eye, he would have hit the ground in his ejection seat. So when do we make our decisions to get out of a trade? Before we get into it, folks. Who needs to manage risk in your trading? You do. You're the pilot in command, folks. In the squadron, we have what we call an SOP. It's called an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. It's written in blood, meaning bad things happen and you go, let's not do that again. Let's write it down so we can kind of tell everybody else not to do something like that. We have SOPs here at Top Gun Options, and I'm going to talk about the trades we just looked at in a second, right? So risk management in your trading The first question you need to ask before you squeeze the trigger on any trade is, how much can I lose? Not how much can I gain? What's my potential profit? How much can I lose? What's the first rule of investing, folks? Don't lose money. What's the second rule? See the first rule, folks. You want to make money consistently. You don't want to be swinging for the fences on every trade. You want a nice, solid base hit. So in the credit spread that we just looked at, I tend to say, you know what? I don't want to risk more than 10% of my model portfolio on any one trade. Now, the model portfolios at TGO are anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000, so that would be $5,000, the max potential risk in any one trade. Why? Because I want to live to fight another day. I don't want to risk 20%, half. No. 5 to 10% of your portfolio is a nice looking risk, okay? So let's go take a look at those two trades that we just had lined up. Let's go take a look at the bear call spread first, the credit spread. Let's hit copy, right? And I'm going to teach you in our live trade briefs. The first place you want to look every time is right here. Let me click analyze, max potential loss. Boom. Right around the $5,000 in my SOP. It's a little north of that, but I'm the pilot in command of my own aircraft, and I decide I'm okay with it. Now, once I, kind of put a little check mark next to here going, all right, I understand max potential loss. Then and only then can I look up and go, hey, there's the max potential profit. Using at the money volatility in these options, there's a 69% probability of that max potential profit. Isn't that awesome? That is fantastic. So let's go take a look at that SOP. High probability trade, nice probability. Now we win, right? Train, fight, win. We close that for maximum profit, or we get out for minimum loss. Folks, we haven't even placed this trade yet, and I know when I'm going to get out for max profit or minimum loss. So when do we take profits? On a credit spread, that bear call spread I just looked at, 7, 8, 9. If I'm looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit on the credit that I took in, that $4,800 or whatever it was, close it. Folks, nobody has gone broke taking a profit. 7, 8, 9. If you're going to sit there, if you're looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit on the credit you took in, and you're sitting there going, you know what, I want 100 on this. I guarantee you that's the day you don't look at it and the trade explodes. Jesus, Ganesh, Muhammad, Buddha all came back to life that day, and the S&P 500 went up 1,000,000 points because we're all in nirvana. Guess what? Well, I guess you're not going to be too upset that you lost money on that trade if they all came back, but you know what I'm talking about, folks. How about the bad? Double the credit to avoid max loss. What do I mean by that? Again, let's go back here. Look, real quick. The credit we're taking in is $10.65. Okay? What's that? $21, $22. Right around, I don't know, $21.50. Just doing public math. Folks, you want this credit to go down close to zero, right? 70, 80, 90, we get out. We don't want this going up. If this is going up, that means the S&P 500 is going up for some reason, and we're wrong in this trade, right? So eject at double this number. See, this is easy, right? I give you your profit target, 7, 8, 9. If you're looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit on that, close it. Double the credit you take in to eject. Wow. We didn't even get in the trade yet, folks, and we know exactly when we're getting out for either max profit or minimum loss. Do not turn a 70, 80, 90% winning trade into a 100% loss. Down there, Bill said, pigs get slaughtered. Remember the wizism, pigs get slaughtered. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Miller Band, go on, take the money, and run. Okay? That's what we want to do. Go on, take the money, and run. All right, so perfect timing because some of you are sitting here like, all right, I get it. Let's get airborne, man. This is awesome. So let's go ahead and get airborne. Real quick, go check out Trustpilot. We have like a 4.8 rating, 73 reviews. Facebook's 4.9, 115 reviews. Don't listen to me, man. Listen to other people. I mean, hell, our Max Afterburner podcast has 82 ratings. Out of 82 ratings, we have a 5.0, man. I'm blown away. So don't listen to me. Go listen to other folks, or just quick, a couple people. Dennis, $6,200 yesterday, dogfighting the S&P 500 for a total of 22 grand in the past 3 trading days. Bob, I've had several, quote, investment advisors over the years. None of them have much paid attention to my account. Much better off following Liz and learning slowly on my own. Chuck was keeping track of my Max Afterburner. That's one of our investment clubs I'll teach you about eventually down the road. Get airborne now in our training environment, and then we'll talk about our investment clubs. If you had executed all the Max AB trades, this was like last October. If you executed all the ones that Wiz had put out and let them expire naturally to their completion, you would have traded 1,170 times and netted a profit of $791 in 17 months. Wow. Thanks for keeping track of that stuff, Robert. David, started with Wiz over 4 years ago and have made over 450 grand in that time. I haven't said it in a while, but thanks, Wiz. Tony's doing some paper trading, which is great. That's what you do in a training environment. Update on Tony. 100 grand fake money account set up in January is now at 267. Quentin, Wiz just joined 12 days ago with a small account. I'm up 6 grand already. So proud to have joined your squadron. Christine, I took 2 grand account to 60 in 3 weeks on one contract. That was Amazon. I remember that, Christine. Nice job. Mark, see you at 10. Very happy to be here. Thank you for your honesty. I will not always agree with you, but never for one moment do I doubt your sincerity or love of our great country and your deep desire to see your clients kick ass. How's the smart money doing, folks? If you're sitting there going, oh, I'd rather be in a hedge fund. Okay, 2019, 10 and 10.6. 2020, 11.4. 2021, 10.22. 2022, last year, negative 8%. Look at year to date in 2023, 2%, folks. That's the smart money. These are. If I was, I'd retire. I'd be embarrassed at these numbers, folks. There's your smart money. How we doing year to date? Primary portfolio up over $39,000. Print money in the S&P 500. Little financial shots at some Goldman Sachs, a little bit of Amazon in here, and some volatility trading. Our weekly options model portfolio, very tactical, right? We can put these on and close them 15 minutes later or take them to Friday. So more tactical portfolio. How about that? And that's 19.5. How about accelerated retirement? This is supposed to be our conservative portfolio, and it's 41. It's beating the primary portfolio. That's, what is that? That's nearly, I think that's 100 grand. Solo Amazon is not part of Full Throttle that I'm going to offer you today, and I with that we're up at like 130 grand year to date. But AR cracks me up. It's supposed to be my conservative portfolio, and it's doing the best. All our trades, you can download our Excel sheet. You can see all of our opening, closing trades, when we closed them, and everything like that. Everything is verifiable. Real quick though, all that green. Folks, we lose some losing trades happen, man. The objective is to win the war. There are unknown unknowns. Famous Rumsfeldism, right? There are things we know that we know. There are things we don't know that we know. And then there are things we know we don't know, right? The unknown unknowns. I remember years ago I put on a trade on Google. I will always call it Google, not the other word. Why? Because I put on a trade, and after the market closed, breaking news, Google changes its name to Alphabet, stock's up 5% after hours. I just kind of laughed. Wait, hold on, Wiz, you lost like 5 grand on that trade and you laughed? Yeah, because there was no way in hell I knew that was going to happen, let alone that the stock would go up on a name change, right? So losing trades happen. If you are ever in one of these briefs and the lady or the dude is sitting there just talking about all their profits, everything's great, never have a losing trade, run. They're a liar. They are lying. Never happens. I have losing trades. Thankfully, track record is pretty damn good. But hey, man, losing trades happen. Period. End of story. 10 grand. When we run these through our Crunch-O-Meter 5,000, if you had started with us 10 grand 12 years ago, folks, if you allow me to round up, close to $6 million. I haven't, you know what? We can round up because that doesn't include our year-to-date performance. 70%. Compare that to that slide a little bit ago from the so-called smart money. Folks, you can start with a grand, right? I think most brokerage accounts, to give you the real-time quotes, they want at least $1,000, in an account. But you can start with as little as $5,000, folks. But could you imagine? What would you do? Let's round down in this case. What would you do with $5 million? I can tell you what I'm doing. That's us. We just got back from Costa Rica recently. We took the first 2 female fighter pilots for treatment to Costa Rica to awaken your soul. And that's Smurf. He was a Navy Hornet guy. That's Erin. She's an F-15 Strike Eagle fighter pilot. And that's Rosie, F-14 Tomcat badass. These incredible human beings. That's what I'm doing with my money. I don't need it. It'll be easier for a rich man to, it'll be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. I don't need it, man. I like having a house and a car and my kids' college funds. Yay. Anything more than that, man, I throw over the fence. And I could not be more happier. But we do. I am a little vain. We bought 2 fighter jets, man, because of the COVID crash. Because of the profits I made on the COVID crash, we bought 2 fighter jets. And I use them for the foundation to take donors flying. And you ready for this? If you're a Top Gun Options members, I promise you, if you make it to South Florida and you're physically capable of flying, all the standard disclaimers, I'll take you flying in the jet. There is no other financial service on the planet where if you become one of their lifetime members, you can go flying in a fighter jet. That's me. So what do you need to trade successfully? Folks, you need solid training. That takes a building block approach. That's exactly what we're going to do. A tight plan that it looks at strategy, the tactics, manages risk, contingency plans. We debrief after a trade, we get our lessons learned. And you need a practical application. You can't just sit there in a lecture forever and go, yay, I'm smart. You need to practically apply it where you get actionable trade ideas. Now, that's pretty ballsy, Wiz. How do you think you know what I need? Because I've been you. I've been there. I had those now what moments. I read a book on options. Here's how old I am, man. Al Gore hadn't even invented the internet yet, and I'm reading a book on options. Try going to the library to teach yourself how to trade options. But I had those now what moments. Great. I know what a call is. I know what a put is. Now what? What do I do with it? Well, folks, I rose from self-taught young retail trader to managing director of a $2.5 billion Wall Street firm to being the CEO of a financial media company, folks. And I simplified everything into something that I call full throttle. This is how you're going to learn how to trade options, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get access to my primary live trade brief every Tuesday at 10 a.m., the weekly options at 10 a.m., and the AR brief, Accelerated Retirement, at 10 a.m. Remember the value there, $19.97. Okay, you're going to get access to those. $19.97, folks. Hey, Wiz, just looked at the flight schedule. I kind of work on those days, folks. Nearly 80% of our TGO traders work. You don't have to attend this trading sessions live, folks. All trades are sent out immediately via text and email, and I record everything. This is being recorded, and I send out the replay 30 minutes after it is rendered. I'm so geeked, been a subscriber for almost 3 years now, and this is the first time I've been able to attend live. I only know you via the replays, folks. So I will send out a text and email alert in the brief when I see a trade. So it's like you're sitting there. And then watch the replay whenever you get a chance. Make sure you try and show up early, folks. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. Because I have a tendency to open up the live briefing room. I don't start talking till the Naval Observatory clock hits the top of the hour. But I usually open up the room early so you can kind of see what I'm doing in my pre-flight. But there's a screenshot of an Amazon trade. So you're going to get an email. You're going to get a text alert. Here's the training, folks. 8 of these, 8 training sessions, folks, valued at $897. $19.97 for all the live briefs, and then we do training at night, 2 days a week, usually Tuesday, Thursday night, 7 o'clock after the markets close, so we can just sit here and talk through these tactics, ladies and gentlemen. Building block approach. Okay, folks, so here is what you get today. You get access to those 3 skill-based live trade briefs Tuesday through Thursday at 10 a.m. the 8 live training sessions to learn about options, taking that building block approach. You're also going to get a bunch of manuals, 3 different skill-based manuals, primary, intermediate, advanced, also our proprietary trade plan, and the OPCL, which is called the Options Pocket Checklist, and obviously the text and email alerts. Folks, here we go. If you went to my website right now to grab this value stacked, folks, it's $29.95. And that's even discounted if you stacked everything on top of each other. So full throttle max, ladies and gentlemen, the full throttle max, regular, $29.95 a year. Folks, today only, on this brief, with this link I'm about to give you, it's $4.97 a quarter. $4.97 a quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Here's where you need to go. Go.topgunoptions.com/yes. Only 50 of you folks. Why? No offense, I can't take a zoo. I'm an instructor pilot. Nobody leaves one of my briefs with a question mark over their helmet or a clue bird flapping on their shoulder, man. I answer every question. I give personal attention, folks, and if it's an absolute shit show with hundreds and hundreds of, it doesn't work. We keep our Top Gun Option Squadron nice and small and tight. Go.topgunoptions.com/yes. Get airborne today. You're going to get these bonuses too. Like I said, the OPCL, the Options Pocket Checklist, and the Trade Plan. Other folks who join do not get this stuff. This is close to $3,500 in value when you throw in all the manuals as well. Like I told you, usually $29.95 per year. Today only, folks, $4.97 a quarter. Trading, combat. Sounds complex, doesn't it? How do we battle complexity? Simplicity, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Top Gun Options difference, okay? Superior training, risk management, discipline, and the practical application methodologies, right? The live trade brief, all in an easy to follow system, folks. Like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, folks. I made something like this for a guy like me. Average, I need kind of simplicity. This is it, folks. Go.topgunoptions.com/yes. So, folks, you're at decision range. You're at the range where you either fire and go in, mask on, fangs out, or you leave. So if you've liked what you've seen so far, if you feel like learning and following processes that I've shown you today will give you an edge over and above what you can do on your own right now. And this one is important. As long as you're truly motivated to get your trading efforts working for you fast, it is going to require some of your time, folks. Then here's your invitation. You're cleared hot. You can join this program. As I said earlier, I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want to have my time wasted either, no offense. So if you think to yourself, I'm just going to go in, learn a few things, and then eject, then I just would prefer you find something else to do, okay? I only want those of you who are truly interested in becoming the pilot in command, so to speak, of your own money and your financial future, okay? So if you're in, great. Welcome aboard. If you're out, hopefully you learned a lot, right? And we talked about a lot with the, train, fight, win. We talked about a TREDGE. We talked about SOT, strategic, operational, tactical. You got value out of this free brief, okay? So how about this then? Take one of the 50 slots that we're making available today. Go through the video training, attend the live trade briefs, ask your questions, and see for yourself what it's like to be part of the Top Gun Options program. Then I'll ask you to place all your trades in a paper trading account so you risk no real money to follow along with trade ideas that you see in the live trade briefs, the emails, and the text alerts. And if after 60 days you decide this isn't right for you, I'm willing to give you 100% of your money back, and you will have not risked anything, a single penny. Even if you were to lose on a trade or two, since you're in a paper trading account, you have lost nothing but time, and you will have gained a lot of knowledge, I guarantee you. All I ask is that you promise to give this program a fair try and enter at least 2 trade ideas per week from my program into your paper trading account and show us you gave it a fair try. If you do this and you still want your money back, I'm happy to give it to you. If you don't have proof of the trades you placed from your paper trading account, then you have decided not to do the one thing that was required of you to do, and you will not qualify for a refund. Doesn't that make sense? If we could shake hands right now, you'd probably go, yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Remember, this is why I tell people that not everyone is right for this program. I'm going to hold you accountable. We do this, folks. We hold each other accountable just like in a fighter squadron, right? So open that paper trading account. You can go to eTrade.com/TopGun, or if you're currently at a broker trading somewhere, they have a paper trading platform. Learn in a simulated trading environment, folks, before you get airborne. But come on, you got to act now. This is today only. The 45% discount applies to this brief only, and using that link, go.topgunoptions.com/yes. Wiz, I've had many other subscriptions, Raging Bull Guys, Money Map Press, Tim Sykes, Jack Clark, many others. None of them worked as hard as you, and none delivered results like you. I wish I had known about you years ago. Look forward to future months. TGO's top of the line. Been with TGO for almost 4 months now. And while still green, I can say wholeheartedly this group is second to none. Wiz brings decades of options trading experience to the table. Couple that with his no BS approach, in-depth training, and amazing support structure, and you get a solid recipe for success. As Wiz says, trading is like combat. There's a winner and a loser. Everyone at TGO plans to be a winner. Larry, small account alert. $8,000 in the past 2 weeks trading 2 to 3 contracts. Folks should feel good when they're doing the same. Don't worry about others making 30, 50, 100 in the same time frame. You are having success. Go with it. As the account grows, so will your ability to buy more contracts in the future. I love that, Larry. Very well done. David, you literally saved my portfolio from blowing out completely. Might be getting a lot more of these soon here. So I'm a lifetime member. Look forward to many years learning and investing from you. Folks, this is a no-brainer. Go.topgunoptions.com/yes. Go.topgunoptions.com/yes. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, trading is a form of combat. Somebody's going to win and somebody's not. And I guarantee you at Top Gun Options, I'm going to do my best to put you on the right side of that trade. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. Fights on. Namaste and Basi Basi.